What we are finding out is that 90% of addiction starts in teen years. So there's a lot of stigma regarding addiction. I think especially around here, there's a need for something like us. Nothing else like RecoveryWerks exists in this community.
Yo, what's up, New Braunfels? It's Rodney with the NB Journal, and this is the New Braunfels Podcast. All right, guys, today we have two very special guests in the car with us today. These boys and girls, this boy and girl, man and woman, lady and gentleman, whatever you want to call them, are with RecoveryWerks. We're going to get to know a little bit about them, but first, let's introduce you guys. Who's in the front seat here? What is your name?
Hi there, I'm Emily.
What's up, Emily?
Oh, just chilling, hanging out in the car.
Okay, so you work for RecoveryWerks, but let's talk about who are you? What's a fun fact about you that maybe nobody knows about you?
A fun fact about me, I can't say nobody knows it, but I kind of keep it on the DL, is that I also stream on Twitch. I focus on streaming like vintage retro video games.
Ooh, okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Retro video gamer, would not have guessed that by looking at you.
I know, that's what most people say.
That's awesome. And then in the back we got Robert. What's up, Robert?
What's up, man?
It's kind of dark right now. Sorry, your face is probably really dark.
It's all good.
Just the creep in the back.
So obviously you are with RecoveryWerks as well, but how would you describe yourself to using something that nobody knows about you?
Yeah, something that nobody knows about me is my nickname actually growing up was Buddy. So
Buddy.
That started when I was at the YMCA. I was like 5 years old, and so they just started calling me Buddy. And then I would jump in the pool and yeah.
That is like the funnest fact I think I've ever heard.
Well, he says that nobody knows it, but I mean, I hear them call him Buddy at work.
yeah.
So people still call you Buddy.
I still got a lot of elf references, so
okay.
Yep, I get a lot of Hope You Find Your Dad when I leave my family events. So.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, let's jump right into it. Enough fun. Let's talk about RecoveryWerks. Whoever wants to get started, tell me a little bit about what RecoveryWerks is all about.
So RecoveryWerks is all about bringing recovery resources and support to Comal County. Right now we only serve Comal County, but what we are finding out is that 90% of addiction starts in teen years. So there's a lot of stigma regarding addiction. I think especially around here, there's a need for something like us. Nothing else like RecoveryWerks exists in this community.
Okay.
But we really wanted to, our co-funders, Joanne and Debbie, were actually inspired by a similar program they used to attend in a more urban area. And they realized a lot of the rural areas, I can never say the word rural, are underserved here. So they moved over here, and what we do is we provide actual meetings, support, resources if somebody comes in off the street and they need help with something. We're here located off of Comal Avenue, behind Razor Tide across the street from the Sonic downtown.
Okay.
But the kind of meetings we have, so we have group fellowship type meetings. So on Mondays and Wednesdays at our main location in New Braunfels from 7 to 8 p.m., we have teen and young adult meetings, and then on the other side of the building, we actually have family member meetings.
Okay.
On Thursdays in Bulverde, we actually run out a church. I think it's called My CBC Church. We use one of their side buildings, so we can have meetings there. And the goal is we're trying to expand to provide this, our support to additional counties around here, and as much as we can in Comal County.
And what does that support look like? So if people are needing any sort of assistance, what kind of assistance might somebody need to come see you guys?
So for the most part, we focus on with our teens and young adults who deal with substance use addiction or substance use disorder, and same for the family members. So actually everybody that works at RecoveryWerks has had some sort of encounter with substance use disorder in our lives at some point.
Okay, wow.
So it's a lot of maybe teens and young adults who have gotten in trouble with the law, who've gotten in trouble at school, who just feel that maybe they're smoking too much, they're starting to drink too much, they're starting to see that what they're doing isn't normal. Mm-hmm. And for the family members, it's spouses of people who deal with this, it's family members with their kids who come there, and they need additional support because working on themselves overall helps work with the whole family.
Wow, that's awesome. And you said that a lot of the people that work there, yourselves included, have had experience in these areas dealing with stuff, so you can kind of relate to these people and kind of be a friend to them. Is that?
Yeah, so that's
actually
that's what makes us stand out. So I am a peer recovery support specialist. I've been through these things. A lot of the people who work at RecoveryWerks that deal with the teens and young adults are younger. Mm-hmm. So it can be, we aren't considered like therapy or counseling. That's kind of, they go into it thinking it's going to be something like that, or they think it's just going to be a class where we talk at them.
Okay.
And they realize that we're their peers, that we really work with them, we understand what they're going through, and we can identify with them, and that makes them more trusting to listen to us and be a part of what we do.
Wow, that's awesome. So Rob, I'm gonna have you jump in here. What is it like? Can you talk to me about what it's like for somebody who goes through, working with you guys, seeks out your help. Maybe, I don't know how long the process takes. Maybe for some people it's longer than others. 6 months down the road, they've been working with you guys. What's the transformation like for some of the people that y'all have helped?
Yeah, it's definitely amazing to see when people come in and they're broken and in a lot of pain, and then to see them utilize our services. And once you start seeing the change of, they start getting better, they start recovering, they start applying, we're a 12-step program, they start applying the 12 steps, you really start to see like a higher power come into place and see changes that just a group inspired, it's really an amazing sight for sure, and just people getting better. And it's like, that's what makes it important at the end of the day, why we do this, for sure.
That's awesome. Is there any type of example that you can give, maybe something that you've seen somebody's transformation without disclosing anything private?
Yeah, absolutely. I know one parent for sure. She's been using her services now these last couple years with her son, and I've really seen some remarkable growth from her, not just mentally but spiritually, physically as well. It's amazing to see just the change and the growth that someone progresses as time goes on, as you work this program, as you apply the steps, and you just help other people, for sure.
That's awesome. What about you, Emily? How's it affect you? What kind of satisfaction do you get out of working there?
It's fulfilling on my own to be able to listen to these teens and young adults. A lot of the times when they come in there, they feel like nobody's heard them. They feel like nobody's listening. They have nowhere to turn. And we get to provide the service at no cost, just to be there and listen to them and be their friend, but still on a professional level, and to be able to guide them through life and really see them grow. Because it's really difficult being a teenager and coming into this. There's a stigma regarding addiction. They don't think that they have that severe problem. They come in, we start to see their minds open up to, wow, I really could use the help and I want it. And just to see them keep coming back, be a part of our RecoveryWerks family is really neat. And I did want to add on, I'm really glad that you brought up, without disclosing any private information, because I did neglect to mention we are a confidential program. So anybody who's interested in coming to us, we don't give that information away. I personally also am running the social media behind everything, and you'll see sometimes we'll post pictures of the back of them kind of thing, but we never give away names or faces or something. Completely confidential.
That's awesome. You mentioned that these young adults and these teens, they come in there and they've admitted to themselves that maybe they have a problem. How it's got to be hard. I can't even imagine as a grown person doing that, or it's just a hard thing to do, to admit that you have a problem for anybody in any scope. How do these, if there's somebody watching or somebody who's out there that maybe is thinking that in the back of their head, but they don't really know that they have a problem, or they don't want to believe that they have a problem, or they don't think it's that serious, I guess I'm not sure what my question is, but how do people get over that fear of maybe going and seeking out that help? What advice might you give to somebody who might be struggling with this but doesn't know how to ask for help?
I think it's really important that people start recognizing, addiction is recognized now as a disease, a mental illness, right? So it's the same if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you have something like that, you're worth the work it takes, you're worth reaching out to get that help. So if this is something you start thinking about, if you're noticing that, you're a consistent user, if these things are bringing down your life, if you're noticing your quality of life is decreasing because of drugs or alcohol, then I think it's worth looking into. At the end of the day, it's not going to hurt, right? If you come, you decide it's not for you, that's okay, but at least you've given it a chance. And
right.
We're there really we love the people that come to RecoveryWerks. We're there to love them and help them until they can love themselves.
That's cool. Rob, you got anything to add on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, if you're in a lot of pain, suffering from this disease of drug and alcohol and addiction, there is a solution out there for you. There's hope. It takes what it takes,
right.
Until you become in so much pain, there is a solution out there for you.
And what about friends or family members? Is there any way that they can help these people get involved if they're interested, or if they want to kind of give somebody a nudge?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're more than welcome to bring that person with them, or if they just want the additional support and they haven't quite gotten around to talking to their loved one about it, that's why we have our family group meetings. They can come check us out. Again, they're at the same time, 7 to 8 p.m. And that's what they talk about in there. They kind of help us, they help family members set their boundaries, figure out where they can interject or where they can just accept that this is where their child, their spouse, whoever is there right now is, and love them from afar. And then I didn't even mention, on Mondays only from 7 to 8 p.m. we have what we call a New Gens meeting, where we're there to support the siblings who see this and have this in their life too. So we really try to provide support to all of the family members, and while they're working on themselves, they can end up helping their whole family entirely.
So even if your friend or family member is struggling with addiction and they're not willing to seek out help, you can come to RecoveryWerks, get some help, and maybe even end up passing that on to that person.
Correct. And if it's not, if it's an individual person who thinks they have a problem, for teens and young adults, we only see really about ages 25 and under.
Okay.
But for family members, there's no real age restriction.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So let's jump into another topic that I know we want to talk about. You guys have an event coming up.
We do.
And why don't you tell me about that? Whoever wants to start.
I feel like Robert's the head of this. Yeah.
So hey guys,
why don't you scoot up a little too? Just kind of lean forward so we can hear you a little better.
Sure, yeah.
See.
I have more of a face for radio, so
you're talking to the king of that.
So yeah, we have a fundraising breakfast. It's our first annual one. We're celebrating our 5th year. We have former NBA basketball player Chris Herron coming to speak here at McKenna Event Center here in New Braunfels. It's right off 801 West San Antonio Street. It's going to be Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. It's going to start at 9 a.m. Chris is going to share his story from addiction to recovery. And basically, we have sponsorships available. We have a silver level sponsor, which includes an autographed signed book from him called Basketball Junkie, 8 table seats, and program recognition. We also have a gold sponsor, which includes all the silver level perks, but you also get to meet and greet Chris Herron. He also has a 30 for 30 called Unguarded, which came out about a couple years ago. It's really moving, emotional piece about his life, what happened, and where he's at now. I've actually seen him speak twice before, and I'll tell you could hear a pin drop. I'm very excited for him when he comes out, and I hope to see you guys there.
And what is the date on that again?
Wednesday, March 18th, 2020.
Perfect.
If you're interested in buying any tickets, because you're listening to this podcast, we're doing a special deal today. That instead of $75 a ticket, it's going to be $25, and we have a promo code with that off Eventbrite. And
wow,
yeah, I know.
I didn't even know you were doing that.
I know. So if you guys are interested in buying our tickets, which we hope we are, which we hope you are, because we're really excited. We actually showed the film Unguarded that's about his life for free at the Draft House last month. We met a lot of people through that, and we want to meet more of you. So if you go on our website, www.RecoveryWerks, and that's works WERKS.org, you can purchase our tickets on there. It'll lead you to the Eventbrite, and that's when you put in the code RW2020 to get $50 off your individual ticket.
Awesome. Well, we'll put a link to that in the description and the caption of this video, so that way that promo code will be good for anybody at any time.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll make sure we link that down below. And anything else you want to talk about on that event?
I don't think so. I think this has been going on for a while. We've been preparing for it. We're really excited to see it actually happen. I've never seen Chris Herron speak. His movie, really hit me emotionally. He gets very passionate about his life because he had it all. He was in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets. Was that the team
Denver
he played
Nuggets
for?
and Boston Celtics.
And you can really see. You can have everything, have all the money, and still addiction can take hold. So it's really cool to be able to get that word out and see somebody share their story with us.
That's awesome. So, Emily, you mentioned a while ago that this is y'all's first big speaking engagement. You guys are going to hopefully do more of these in the future.
I hope so.
But you said RecoveryWerks has been around for 5 years?
Yes.
Cool. Let's talk about that. How did RecoveryWerks get started?
So Robert has actually been around a little bit longer than me. I think he'd have a little bit more information on that one.
Sure, yeah. So it
Scoot
started,
up, Rob.
I don't know. Get closer.
It actually started in 2015 by our program director and executive director. Our program director has been in the addiction recovery field for over 20 years. Like Emily had previously said, she was working at a urban recovery center, and by working there, she was inspired to bring it out into rural communities like here in New Braunfels and Comal County.
Right.
So her and our executive director got together on that. It actually started at our executive director's house. They started to build up a family program, and then it actually moved into churches, and then we also started having meetings here in town at River City Advocacy. And then we got actually our first building. Our first grant was by one of our generous donors and funders, the McKenna Foundation.
Awesome.
It started, we had a building right off here, East Mill Street. That was in July 2017 we moved in. And then as we, like Emily was saying, we started seeing growth these last few years. We actually outgrew that space in only about a year and a half, 2 years, and we decided to move recently back in June 2019. So as you can see, we see this growth. For example, like Emily had mentioned, with our clients served, we grew 95% from calendar year 2018 to calendar year 2019.
Wow.
And we're just really starting to see how much of a need it is here in Comal County and surrounding areas around New Braunfels, like Canyon Lake, Belverde,
Right.
Spring Branch. And, you know, we're just happy to provide those services here.
That's awesome.
And when they created, RecoveryWerks, and they started here, I think their original goal was only to have really small locations in other small rural communities. They didn't expect Comal to be growing so much, specifically New Braunfels.
Right.
I don't think they ever predicted, like, there's other stuff that we do. We outreach to other parts of the community. So actually once a week, I and another coworker go to the Comal Discipline Center to do one-on-ones with the kids there and let them know we exist and they can come to us if they need us. And then communities and schools reached out to us, and once a month we go to Canyon High School and we actually meet with the kids there. So I don't think anybody was prepared for the amount of growth that we've gotten in New Braunfels, but it's been really exciting.
That's awesome. Well, I think also, Robert, didn't we were at the JC's meeting last week, and didn't you guys receive an award? I'm just gonna say a check. I don't know what the proper philanthropic word is, but you guys received some funding from the JC's. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So JC's actually gave us a grant recently, which has been great. You know, that's a local nonprofit here in town that does a lot for our community.
Shout out to the JC's.
Shout out to the JC's. I've been a member in it the last year, and it's just been a really kick-ass group to be a part of and see all the great work we're doing here in the community. I also want to thank our other funders, including the McKenna Foundation, the Gronkowski Charitable Foundation, the GBTC Foundation, the Meadows Foundation, the Christus Fund, and of course United Way of Comal County. Without funders like those, we could not do this without them. So we really do appreciate it here at RecoveryWerks for all that you guys do for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, being a nonprofit organization, and we provide our services at no cost. We really rely on donators and our funders. So I wanted to add on to that just an additional thank you for keeping us going. Obviously, you guys see the need for us here, and we're really happy to be a part of Comal County.
And just based on the sheer number of people, you guys' lives have been touched by it. My life has been touched by it. I'm sure so many people's lives have been touched by addiction. And so if anybody wants to get involved, if they find that this is an organization that they like to give back to, even if it's an individual or whether it's an organization or a corporation or a company, whatever, what's the best way to reach you guys and to get involved or maybe make a donation?
I would say to check out our website. Again, that's RecoveryWerks, works with an E.org. They can contact us on there. Calling us out by phone. We have our personal phones. We're always around them. Robert, what do you think?
Yeah, no, like just what Emily said, definitely for sure. Our website.
What are some other places they can find you guys? If people want to follow along or if they want to send people your way.
Good call. I wasn't even thinking about that. So we actually, we just recently started our Instagram. So it's RecoveryWerks NB, I believe, on Instagram. And on Facebook, you can just look up RecoveryWerks. We're the only one. We do have an exclamation mark at the end of our name on Facebook. We try really hard to be up to date on there. That's something I've recently taken over. But to let you guys know all the events happening, show you guys the kind of activities we provide, because on weekends we do like to provide sober activities for the teens that attend our meetings, cool. and you can see what we're up to.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for all the great information. Is there anything else that y'all want to talk about that I didn't ask you?
Just want to give a quick shout out. I forgot about the GBTC Foundation. Thank you as well.
I think you mentioned them.
Okay, good deal.
But that's okay.
I think we can edit this.
No, just force it together.
I'm kidding. I don't even know. You maybe you did.
I don't know.
I'm just making a joke.
Well, I never forget about our funders, so thank you.
There you go. You can never thank them too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. Anything else, you guys?
I think that's it. We're really happy that we got to partner with you, Rodney. Thanks so much for having us and letting me be a part of this.
Shout out to the NB Journal.
Yeah.
Yes, NB Journal.
Thank you guys. Well, thanks so much for coming along and taking the time to speak about it today. And as they said, guys, we'll link everything below so you guys can follow RecoveryWerks. But if you have anybody that's struggling with addiction, these guys are here to help. As Emily said, these are peers. This isn't, a therapy session or anything like that. These are people that are genuinely just here to listen and help in any way they can, and they have experience with it themselves. So go check them out, and thank you guys for joining me, and thanks everybody for watching. As usual, until the next video, we'll see y'all. Peace.
And we like to have fun in recovery.